Most people walk into the grocery store and spend money on things they think are a good deal. And then there are people who know better. Today, I want to talk about 10 grocery items that quietly drain your wallet every single month. Not because they're bad products, but because once you know what I know, you'll never look at them the same way again. And stick around, because number 6 on this list is something almost every American household buys on autopilot, and when I saw the actual numbers behind it, my jaw dropped. You're not going to believe it. Before we get into it, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel is where people who actually pay attention come to get ahead. I put out content like this every week, and the people watching aren't waiting to find out what everyone else figures out 6 months later. They find out first. All right, let's get into it. Item number 1, pre-washed bagged salad. This one feels smart. It feels like a time saver, and that's exactly why it works on us. You grab the bag, it says triple washed, it says ready to eat, and you think, great, I'm saving 20 minutes and I'm eating healthy. But here's what they don't put on the label. You are paying a premium that, when you actually sit down and do the math, is staggering. A standard 5-ounce bag of mixed greens at most major grocery chains runs somewhere between $4 and $6. A full head of romaine, or a whole bunch of green leaf lettuce, weighs almost 3 times as much and costs about half the price. We're talking about a price per ounce gap that can be 3 to 4 times higher on the bagged version. Industry analysts who track grocery pricing patterns have pointed to pre-cut and pre-washed produce as one of the highest margin categories in the fresh food section. These items aren't priced for your convenience. They're priced because people buy them without comparing. I did this myself last spring. I was buying 2 bags of salad a week. That was roughly $40 a month just on salad. I switched to buying whole heads of lettuce and a simple salad spinner, which cost me $12 once, and my salad budget dropped to about $9 a month for the same volume. The taste was also noticeably better because the lettuce wasn't sitting in modified atmosphere packaging slowly going limp. The practical move here is simple. Buy whole heads. Rinse them yourself. A salad spinner takes 30 seconds. If you want a mix, buy 2 different heads and combine them. Your wallet will notice the difference before the month is even over. You're not saving time with the bag. You're paying extra to feel like you are. Item number 2. Single-serve flavored yogurt cups. Walk through any grocery store dairy aisle, and you'll see a wall of these. 4-ounce cups with fruit on the bottom, 12 grams of sugar per serving, and a price tag that makes no sense once you understand what you're actually buying. A 6-pack of individual flavored yogurt cups regularly runs between $5 and $7 at mainstream retailers like Walmart and Kroger. That's over $1 per tiny cup. Meanwhile, a 32-ounce tub of plain Greek yogurt, which has more protein, less sugar, and no artificial colors, sells for around $4 to $5 at the same stores. You're getting roughly 8 times the product for less than the price of the 6-pack. The flavored single-serve market grew significantly in the 2010s as brands positioned yogurt as a health food. The marketing worked almost too well. People assumed that if it was yogurt, it was healthy, and if it came in a small cup, the portion control made it even smarter. But nutrition researchers and food policy advocates have been pointing out for years that many of these cups contain as much sugar per ounce as a soft drink. When I started actually reading labels about 2 years ago, I was genuinely surprised. I'd been buying a specific brand of strawberry yogurt for probably 4 years. I thought I was making a healthy choice. Then I added up what I was spending per month across a household of 3 people and realized we were dropping over $30 a month on these little cups. I switched to the large tub of plain Greek yogurt, added a spoonful of real jam or some fresh fruit, and we haven't looked back. Add a small jar of your preferred jam, some honey, or a bag of frozen berries. The customization is better. The cost is a fraction. And the sugar content is something you actually control. Don't let the convenience packaging charge you for a decision you can make yourself in 5 seconds. Item number 3. Name brand spices in small jars. This one is almost invisible because spices feel cheap. A little jar of garlic powder for $3. What's the big deal? But here is the deal. And once you see it, you'll think about it every single time you're in the spice aisle. The name brand spice companies. The ones with the red or yellow labels that have been on grocery store shelves since your grandparents were cooking. Sell you a 1.5 to 2 ounce jar for anywhere from $3 to $6. Specialty or organic versions push that even higher. Now, walk over to the international foods aisle, or to a bulk foods section if your store has one, or to any Indian grocery, Latin grocery, or Asian market nearby. You will find the exact same spice, often from better sourcing, at a fraction of the price. We're talking about 4 to 8 ounces for $2 or less. Spice industry insiders have noted for years that you are largely paying for the packaging, the shelf placement, and the decades of brand recognition that companies like McCormick have built. The actual product inside the jar is often sourced from the same global supply chains as lower-cost alternatives. I grew up buying the name brand jars because that's what my family bought. When I finally visited a bulk food store a few years ago and started comparing prices, I couldn't believe what I'd been paying for the same product. I now buy most of my spices in bulk or from international markets and refill smaller containers at home. I estimated I save somewhere between $80 and $120 a year just on spices. That's not nothing. The practical step is easy. Next time you need to restock cumin or paprika or cinnamon or turmeric, check an ethnic grocery nearby. Or look at your store's bulk aisle if it has one. The quality is often better because turnover is higher and the product is fresher. The savings are significant. Don't buy the brand, buy the spice. Item number 4. Bottled water by the case. I know, you've heard this one before. But I want to explain why it still belongs on this list in 2026, because the financial math has actually gotten worse, not better. A 24-pack of half-litre water bottles at major retailers typically runs between $5 and $9, depending on the brand. That's roughly 288 ounces of water. Compare that to a water filter pitcher, which costs about $30 to $40 once and filters water for pennies per gallon for months. Or a quality reusable bottle with a built-in filter. The cost difference over a single year for a family of 4 drinking the recommended water intake can easily reach $600 or more. Environmental groups and consumer finance researchers have both flagged bottled water as one of the most irrational spending categories in the average household budget. Municipal tap water in most American cities meets or exceeds federal safety standards. The bottled water industry has been extraordinarily successful at selling a product that is, in the vast majority of US locations, functionally equivalent to what comes out of the tap. I live in a city where the tap water is perfectly fine. I used to buy bottled water by the case out of habit, a habit I picked up from my parents who picked it up from advertising in the 90s. When I finally sat down and calculated what we were spending, it was close to $50 a month. We bought a filter pitcher, and that cost paid itself off in under a month. That was 4 years ago, and I've never gone back. The action here is clear. If you have legitimate concerns about your local water quality, and some areas do have real issues, a point-of-use filter or a whole home filter is still far cheaper than buying bottled water long-term. If your water is fine, stop paying for plastic and marketing. This one is simple math. The companies selling you bottled water are very good at marketing. Don't let them win. Item number 5. Grocery store. Bakery bread. Fresh bakery bread at the grocery store feels like an indulgence that's also reasonable. It smells incredible. It's sitting there under warm lights. And you think, this is the good stuff, not the plastic bag bread. But there's something about grocery store bakery bread specifically that most people never think to look into. A standard loaf from the in-store bakery at a major chain runs anywhere from $4 to $8, depending on the store and the variety. At that price point, you'd expect it to be baked fresh on site from scratch. And some of it is. But a significant portion of what you see in grocery store bakery sections was delivered frozen or par-baked, partially cooked in a factory, and then finished in the store's ovens. This is an open industry practice. Bakery operations across major chains have used par-baked products for years to reduce labour costs and ensure consistency. Grocery industry reporting and baking trade publications have documented the widespread use of par-baked products in retail bakery departments. The finished product tastes good, but you are paying artisan bread prices for a product that began its life in an industrial facility, not a neighbourhood bakery. When I first learned about this a couple of years ago, I went back and asked some questions at a local grocery store. The employees were friendly and honest. They confirmed that much of what they bake is not made from scratch on site. The bread that is made from scratch tends to be a small subset of the full display. But unless you specifically ask, you won't know which is which. If you want truly fresh bread at a fair price, look for a local independent bakery in your area. Often the prices are comparable or even lower for a product that is genuinely made on site. If you want to save even more, a bread machine costs between $40 and $80 and produces a full loaf for about 40 to 60 cents in ingredients. The economics are hard to argue with. The smell in that bakery aisle is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Know what you're actually buying. Item number 6. Shredded cheese in a bag. Here we go. This is the one I told you about at the beginning. And before you roll your eyes, hear me out. Because this isn't just about price, it's about what they actually put in that bag. Pre-shredded cheese is one of the most popular dairy products in America. It's in nearly every refrigerator in the country, and it costs significantly more per ounce than a block of the same cheese from the same brand. At most major retailers, shredded mozzarella or cheddar in an 8-ounce bag runs 50 to 90 cents per ounce. A full block of the same cheese, same brand, same shelf, often runs 30 to 50 cents per ounce. You're paying a premium of 40 to 60%, sometimes more, just for the shredding. But here's the part nobody talks about. Pre-shredded cheese contains anti-caking agents, most commonly potato starch or cellulose, to prevent the shreds from clumping together in the bag. Cellulose is wood pulp fiber, technically. It's food safe and legal. But it also coats the shreds and interferes with how the cheese melts. If you've ever wondered why the cheese in your homemade pizza or your pasta doesn't quite melt the way restaurant cheese does, this is a major reason. The anti-caking agents create a barrier that prevents smooth, even melting. Food scientists and professional chefs have noted this issue for years. It's one of the most consistent pieces of advice you'll hear from anyone who cooks professionally. Buy a block and shred it yourself. I used to buy bags exclusively because of convenience. Then I started making pizza at home and the cheese never melted right. I thought it was my oven. I tried different temperatures. I watched videos. Eventually, someone in a cooking forum mentioned the anti-caking agent issue, and I bought a $10 box grater and tried it with a block. The difference was immediately obvious. The cheese melted smooth, it browned properly, and the pizza looked like something from an actual restaurant. That was the moment I stopped buying pre-shredded permanently. A box grater costs $10 and lasts forever. A block of cheese will cost you measurably less and melt noticeably better. And you're not eating wood pulp fiber with your pasta. This is one small change that saves you money and improves your food quality at the same time. That combination is rare. Take it. Item number 7. Flavored instant oatmeal packets. Instant oatmeal packets have been a breakfast staple in American households for decades. They're marketed to parents as convenient, healthy, and portion-controlled. And on the surface, that pitch sounds reasonable. But the actual product inside those little packets is doing something to your wallet and your blood sugar that the cartoon characters on the box would prefer you not think about. A box of 10 flavored instant oatmeal packets typically runs $3 to $5 at major grocery chains. That's roughly 35 to 50 cents per packet. Each packet contains about a single serving. Old-fashioned rolled oats, in a large canister, often cost $3 to $4 for 30 or more servings. The per-serving cost is roughly 10 to 15 cents. You are paying 3 to 4 times as much for a product that also contains significant added sugar artificial colors in some varieties, and substantially less fiber than the real thing because the oats are processed to cook faster. Nutrition researchers have compared the glycemic index and overall nutritional profile of flavored instant oatmeal to plain rolled oats for years. The processed, flavored version spikes blood sugar faster and keeps you full for a shorter period. Pediatric nutrition advocates have specifically called out flavored oatmeal packets marketed to children as closer to a dessert product than a breakfast food in terms of sugar content. I fed my kids these packets for about 3 years before a doctor's visit prompted me to look more closely at breakfast nutrition. When I actually compared the sugar content of the cinnamon apple flavor to plain oats with real cinnamon and a small drizzle of maple syrup, the difference was eye-opening. 15 grams of sugar in the packet versus roughly 4 grams in my homemade version, and the homemade version took about 4 minutes longer to prepare. Buy the large canister of rolled oats. Add a pinch of salt, some cinnamon, whatever fruit or sweetener you prefer. A batch of overnight oats takes 5 minutes the night before and requires no morning effort at all. The savings over a month are substantial. The nutrition is categorically better. The packet is packaging and marketing. The oats inside are not worth what you're paying for them. Item number 8. Store brand, diet, or light. Frozen meals. The frozen meal section has evolved a lot. There are products now that look genuinely healthy. Low calorie counts, protein numbers prominently displayed, green packaging, clean sounding brand names. These meals have gotten sophisticated in their marketing. But the actual product tells a different story for most of them. A typical light or diet frozen entree at major grocery chains runs between $3 and $7 per meal. At $5 per meal, buying lunch 5 days a week adds up to $100 a month. What are you getting for that? Often between 250 and 400 calories, which sounds like discipline, but frequently means you'll be hungry again within 2 hours. Sodium content in many of these meals is extremely high as a flavor compensation for reduced fat and calories. Portion sizes are engineered to look reasonable on a plate, but leave adults genuinely unsatisfied. Consumer nutrition research has consistently found that the serving sizes on frozen diet meals are calibrated in ways that understate the caloric intake most adults actually need from a single meal. The sodium levels in many of these products also raise concerns for anyone monitoring cardiovascular health. I went through a phase of buying these meals when I was trying to manage my weight a few years ago. I'd eat one for lunch and be genuinely hungry by 2 in the afternoon. I started combining 2 meals, which immediately doubled the cost. When I switched to meal prepping actual food on Sundays, batch-cooked grains, vegetables, and protein, my lunch costs dropped to roughly $1.50 to $2 per meal, and I wasn't hungry between meals anymore. If budget-friendly and filling lunch is the goal, meal prep is the answer. A pot of rice, some roasted vegetables, a protein cooked in bulk, divided into 5 containers on Sunday, will cost you less per meal than any frozen option and keep you full for a full afternoon. The light frozen meal is selling you the idea of healthy eating. It's not always delivering it. Item number 9. Fancy coffee creamers. This is a quiet one. It doesn't feel like a budget issue because each bottle seems inexpensive, but the habit compounds fast. A 32-ounce bottle of the popular flavored liquid creamers, brands like Coffee Mate in the flavored varieties, or the branded natural alternatives, runs between $4 and $7 at most grocery stores. Many people go through 1 to 2 of these per week. At 2 bottles per week, you're spending anywhere from $400 to $700 a year on creamer. For creamer, here's what's actually in most of these bottles: partially hydrogenated oils in older formulations, or vegetable oils in newer ones, combined with corn syrup solids or sugar, artificial or natural flavors, and various emulsifiers. Some of the most popular varieties contain very little actual dairy. They are essentially a flavored oil and sugar emulsion that is extremely good at making coffee taste like dessert. Food ingredient transparency advocates and nutrition researchers have examined the ingredient lists of the most popular flavored creamers and found that many of them share more in common with a processed confectionery product than with dairy. The marketing around terms like natural and real on some of the premium versions has come under scrutiny for being misleading. I calculated my own creamer spending about 18 months ago, and it was genuinely embarrassing. 2 bottles a week at around $5 per bottle was over $500 a year. I switched to a small amount of real, half and half, and a bottle of pure vanilla extract, which I use a drop or two of per cup. The cost dropped to under $40 a year. The taste, after about a week of adjustment, was better. Real cream tastes like real cream. The practical switch is half and half, whole milk, or real heavy cream combined with a small amount of actual sweetener if you need it. A bottle of real vanilla extract costs about $8 and lasts months. The difference in cost over a year is significant. The difference in what you're actually consuming is significant. You don't need a laboratory ingredient list in your morning coffee. Item number 10. Grocery store, vitamins and supplements. This is the last one, and it might be the most important if you take supplements regularly, because the pricing gap here is larger than almost anywhere else in the store. A major grocery chain's vitamin and supplement aisle stocks products from brand names that most Americans recognize from decades of advertising. A 60-count bottle of a name-brand multivitamin at a typical grocery store runs anywhere from $12 to $25. Fish oil capsules, vitamin D, magnesium, B-complex, all carry similar premiums. The same formulations, often from the same contract manufacturers, are available at Costco, Sam's Club, or through direct online supplement retailers for 40 to 60% less. Warehouse Club Vitamin D, or fish oil products in particular, represent some of the best value in consumer supplementation. The supplement industry has a well-documented structure where the actual manufacturing is concentrated among a relatively small number of contract producers who supply products to multiple brands. What you are paying for at a grocery store supplement aisle is often the brand name, the premium retail placement, and the packaging, not a meaningfully different product. When I started researching this after a conversation with someone who works in pharmaceutical manufacturing, I went home and compared 3 supplements I take regularly. The grocery store versions were consistently 40 to 60% more expensive than the exact same product. Same dose, same count, same certifications from a warehouse retailer or a reputable direct-to-consumer brand. Over a year of purchasing, that difference added up to over $200 for my household. The move here: if you take vitamins regularly, buy them at Costco or Sam's Club if you have a membership, or from a reputable direct retailer. Look for products with third-party testing certifications. USP or NSF certified on the label means an independent organization verified what's in the bottle. This protects you on quality and saves you significantly on price. Your health is worth investing in, but you don't have to overpay at the grocery store to do it. Let's step back for a second, because looking at all 10 of these items together, a pattern becomes very clear. The grocery industry, and the brands that stock it, are extraordinarily skilled at one specific thing. They are skilled at making you feel like you're making a smart, convenient, or healthy choice when you are actually paying a premium for packaging, processing, and marketing. Pre-washed greens, single-serve yogurt, bagged shredded cheese, flavored packets, name-brand vitamins. Every one of these items is sold to you with a story. The story is usually about saving time, eating well, or making the responsible choice. And the story is often more valuable to the company selling it than the product itself. The people who actually protect their budgets are not people who spend less. They're people who spend deliberately. They know what they're buying, they know what they're paying for, and they choose when a premium is worth it and when it isn't. You are now one of those people. You have the information. Most of the people who walked into the grocery store today do not. The next time you're standing in that aisle, you'll think about this video. You'll look at the bag of pre-shredded cheese and know what's actually in it. You'll look at the flavored oatmeal packets and do the math in your head. You'll walk past the bottled water with a different feeling than you did yesterday. That's the goal. Not panic, not extreme couponing, just awareness. Just knowing what's actually happening so you can make the decision that's right for you and your family. The companies counting on you not to do this math are very large and very well funded. The fact that you're here, watching this, means you're already ahead of the curve. If this video helped you, share it with someone who grocery shops, a family member, a friend, someone who you know is spending money on things they don't have to. And if you want more content like this, the stuff nobody on the mainstream financial channels is talking about, the real consumer awareness information that actually changes what you do next week, subscribe, because we put this out consistently and we are just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.